Alright Glenn, just check this out. We're going to look at some hidden gems that are also on sale, alright?
Nice one, double bubble, we do like that. Yeah, so we're going to look at 6 games today that are on sale as it currently stands, but just aside from that, they are genuinely good games that you could consider to be hidden gems, so even if they go off of sale, it's worth having them on your radar.
Absolutely, alright. What are 6 games that are on sale that are also hidden gems? Well, let's find out. I'm going to start off then with a game called Rain World, which we've just been playing through, Glenn, and it's ridiculously difficult to the point where, let's be completely honest about it, some people aren't even going to enjoy this game.
Yeah, this is quite a difficult one to recommend for everyone, but that's not to say that it's not a good game. In fact, it is a very good game. It's just an acquired taste. It's a Metroidvania, so let's start there, with a beautiful art style. It has this world that you want to explore, but you can see the danger, can't you? It's very clear that this is not a place you want to be. There are creatures everywhere that are out, not just to get you, that's the interesting part. There's also almost like an ecosystem that's in place where they're just doing their own thing, but if they come across you, you'll know about it. And that's part of the charm, but it's also part of the frustration, and that's where you'll need to decide which camp you're in terms of the kind of gamer you are and whether you're up for that. There's also a lot of platforming, a lot of jumps that you'll need to make, precision perfect jumps that you'll need to make. And then there's, just to throw another one in there, there's a mechanic where it will start to rain and you'll need to get out of the way sharpish, otherwise you'll be killed. And if you haven't saved it in a while, well, how's your luck? So yeah, enjoy it.
Yeah, this is really quite an unusual Metroidvania, isn't it? It's very, very strange. It's like Glenn said though, what he just said there about the art style and that kind of like dystopian future. I do think though it does have that almost, we were saying about the 2 Blade Runner movies the other day about how the new one is almost too clean in its look. I do think this world does look quite grimy, but still, that style.
Yeah, it's exactly that. If you look at the backgrounds, you can clearly see this is a world that's in distress, a world that's fallen apart. But because you have those colours, those pastel colours, they really do, evoke, a beautiful desolation. I like that term. It's a nice one, isn't it? I think that's the name of a game, to be fair. I've half-inched it, but it's very apt for this game,
Absolutely. Yeah, so at the moment, this one is on a deep discount, as you can see from the prices on the screen. But do consider our words wisely. This won't be for everyone.
Next one we're going to look at then is Lego Bricktales. Now, this came out about a year ago, I believe it was. I did review this game, so we'll put a link to that review. There'll be a card in the top right hand corner. This one it's sectioned into like hub worlds. You go to a world and you'll need to find the crystals or whatever it is that you need to progress. But what's interesting is that you'll have this like dioramic world where there are parts you can't get across it. Maybe the bridge is down or there's something in your way, and you'll then be taken to another screen where you'll need to use the elements you have, the pieces you have, to then create something in order to get past. Now, in terms of the brick building, it did it very well actually. There are a couple of games recently that have really got the physics of actually physically building Lego in digital form right, and this is certainly one of those games. It can be fiddly due to the camera, which is a shame, but it's kind of one of those necessary evils if you're dealing with anything that's in 3D, but this is actually a really good game, especially if you have any sort of interest in Lego at all.
Lovely. So I saw this one. Does it have any form of like sandbox mode where you can create stuff? Is there anything like that?
I believe there is a sandbox mode, and you can also, once you've built whatever it is you needed to get past, you can then unlock a mode there where you can then custom build that further still. So you'll build a bridge and it just needs to be functional to get you across, but then once that's done, you can then jazz it up and make it whatever you want it to be.
Very cool. For me, this was like, I saw your review of it and I thought, from what you'd said, it's a good game, but it's like the perfect sales pickup. It looks like something I'd really enjoy playing through with my kids. All right, in the absence of the thought that I was gonna say, what about like replayability, longevity, and also like performance, because that's always something I care about.
In terms of replayability, you're looking at that build element, which is the case in a lot of these sort of Lego games. If you're looking at the other, is it Traveller's Tales? I think that do the other Lego games. They're a bit different because you've got a lot of collectibles to find. This is very much about taking, an interest in actual Lego building into a video game where you can, as I said, kind of jazz up and really customize the builds that the game wants you to make. Performance was okay, wasn't fantastic. But it doesn't really affect the game. You're in these small hub worlds where exploration is there, but it's never going to get to a point where the performance damages your experience. And as you said, if it's a sale pickup, that's when you can accept some of these flaws anyway.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to talk about another one now that is a game that I picked up yesterday, I think. It's the Hot Wheels Unleashed racing game. Now, this is almost helped and hindered by the fact that it's Hot Wheels, I think, and it's because of something that you said to me just before we started filming about the way that you acquire different vehicles.
Yeah, this is a game I bought a while back, the physical edition I'm talking about, so I didn't buy it on sale on the eShop. And I did enjoy my time with it. I have enjoyed playing it. You know, if you have any sort of affinity for the Hot Wheels toys, you know, my little boy, he loves them. You know, we buy them quite often, so it's nice to see them on the screen. But the issue is that a lot of the time, the ones you really want are the ones that you have to buy as DLC. And that's, you know, that's a shame. And again, if you're buying it on sale, I suppose that does negate that to a certain extent in that you're getting it cheaper anyway. And if you don't care about that, you've got no bother at all. And it is a fairly decent racer aside from that anyway. It's just a shame that things always seem to be locked away these days.
So from what I understand, it's very much a physics-based racer. I used to have one of these on PC. I forget the name of it. You had to do like stunts and stuff to make your way through the area. But there's also like a track customizer here, from my understanding, that you can design your own layouts and things.
Yeah, it uses the orange track parts
Right.
that are quite famous in the Hot Wheels line that you used to snap together and make your own tracks. So when you're racing, obviously you are on those. And again, if you enjoy the Hot Wheels brand, you'll love seeing that, and you'll love seeing your car go across each of the tracks. And I'm sure it will remind you of a time as a kid where you were doing so in your bedroom, you know.
Lovely, yeah. I know it's got a real following on the Switch. It seems to have charmed quite a few people. Ideal. Okay, a game that you will never play, Glen. It's Eldest Souls. I think anything with the name Souls in, Glen might actually be allergic to. And I don't actually blame him, to be honest. I think I'm getting too old for this. But this is a boss rush Souls-like. So they take out all the middle ground. You won't find any enemies in between. You'll find a few random strangers that are, I don't know, giving you some lore, in air quotes. But generally it's just waffle that you ignore. And then you get to another boss fight. And these are very, very good fights. If you like this style of game, if you enjoy boss rush and Souls, it's a very nice mixture. It's funny because this came out in a time when there are a few other big names, and I don't think many people covered it. I know IGN did a review and they really liked it, but I was expecting some more content because it's not the longest. For this style, I mean, Dark Souls took me, I don't want to say because you're going to judge me, but it took me a long time to actually finish it. With this one, it's quite easy to blast your way through in about 6 or 7 hours, which again, for that style, isn't very long. It might sound like a blessed relief to you, Glen.
Sounds perfect, to be honest. When you mention that, just to clarify for people maybe like me that aren't into Souls games as much, when you say 6 or 7 hours, is that because Dark Souls? Well, I know Dark Souls is difficult. I'm not asking an obvious question, but is that because there's a lot of content, or is that because you die so often it takes you so long? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, speedrunners can fly through Dark Souls, but I would say it's because it's a mixture of both. Like, there's a lot of content there. Nothing compared to something like Elden Ring, there's nothing in comparison to that, or Sekiro. But yeah, there is a lot of content, and there's a lot to do that you don't have to do, that I think kind of keeps you going. But like you say, you die a lot. But I think it's quite fair in Dark Souls. You go back to your bonfire and stuff like that, and here you get to fight that same boss again. You don't go all the way back to the beginning. That's almost becoming more of an annoyance for me in gaming, where it just kicks you all the way back to start. Roguelites, that's why that's kind of started to grate. I don't care if it's hard, but if I get to start that same hard bit again, then I'm laughing.
And does this one have a lot of content, or is this more about constant retries?
This is constant retries. This is very much boss rush. It's quite linear. You have those small story sections, but it's just nicely done. You'll see from the art on the screen, it looks beautiful, it runs well. I just enjoyed it, yeah. Good game.
Lovely, good stuff. Okay, right, next one is called Ninja Saviors. Now this is a remake almost of an old Super Nintendo and arcade game, in fact, called Ninja Warriors. Now, I played the arcade game, not back in the day. I played it many years later on a compilation, and I played the Super Nintendo one. This is a very good beat 'em up. Now, it's like on a 2D plane. Generally on, or in beat 'em up, sorry, most of the time you're on a 3D plane where you can walk backwards and forwards. Yeah. This is very much just 2D. And when you first play it, at least for me, being very much off the school of 3D, walking on a 3D plane, I did find it not difficult in terms of dying a lot, but I felt like I didn't have as much freedom to attack the enemies the way I wanted. They're there, they're left and they're right, and you can't really escape them. You can't be quite strategic in how you move around. But actually you start to learn that that's the game's hook. Because you can use that to your advantage, and you start to become quite skilled in the way that you evade. And it's just a very different experience. And for someone that's played as many beat 'em ups as I have, you're looking for something a bit different, and it won't be different to some people, but because I'd always gravitate towards the other type, it was nice to play something that was different. I very much recommend this if you are a fan of, you know, old school games in general, but beat 'em up certainly. You know, you want a bit of a challenge. It is tough, and you know, level 1 took me a while, but then I kind of breezed through level 2 because I knew what I was doing by that point. You know, it has that feel to it. But yeah, you can go do far worse than this one. This is a lot of fun. Really enjoyed this one.
Awesome. I don't really have much to add there other than to say that I do find it interesting that you say about the 3D depth, because I remember when you were trying to teach me, in air quotes, how to properly play a beat 'em up, one of the moves that I had to do all the time was to kind of like position myself below as the enemy came across and then move up, and I could like grab them or avoid a bit of damage, you know?
Yeah, that's classic beat 'em up for me. That, you know, as soon as you master that way of just setting yourself just off center of the enemy in a one on a 3D plane, of course I'm talking about, then you can, as you say, you can get some hits in. They can't quite get you at that point. You can get, you know, grabs if the game allows. For bosses in beat 'em ups, that's essential. You get a few digs in, you get out the way quick, let them do what they got to do, and you get back in there. And if you can master that, you're laughing. But this game doesn't do that. So for me, it was like, wow, okay, this is like relearning to ride a bike almost, you know? And yeah, I enjoyed it. It was fun because of that.
Okay, a game that you sold me, you said this in a interesting games video we did maybe 6 months ago, was Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion. And then it was on sale, so I mentioned it in the sales video and then I ended up buying it. I haven't played it yet, but it looks awesome. And it's supposed to be quite a nice little bite-sized adventure, not stupidly long, not difficult. Tell me about that one.
Yeah, I mean, that sums it up very well, to be fair. It is exactly that. It's a top-down adventure, a lot of humour. So you are Turnip Boy, and the mayor of your town accuses you of tax evasion, and because of this he's kind of got you under his grasp, and he can send you off to do a whole bunch of missions for him, so off you'll go. I suppose if I'm comparing it to something, it's a bit of a lazy comparison, but you'll get the idea. Top-down Zeldas, you know, in terms of having to navigate the world, and there are certain parts you can't get through yet, and obviously you'll get through them later. Has that combat as well, more side quests and objectives than a Zelda game. With Zeldas, you kind of, you know, you need to go to a dungeon over there, and you'll go towards that dungeon over there. This is, you know, as I say, has more quests in it, but it's very well structured. As I said, it's quite funny at times, and for the price, for a sale price, absolutely, this is one I would recommend picking up. It's just a nice, as you said, bite-sized adventure, but you feel quite satisfied afterwards, you know?
Sounds good. So with stuff like this, as an adult gamer, I like it feels like it's targeted at adults. Just because of the name, you know, tax evasion, things like that. Does it then have the humour to back that up?
Yeah, it's quite self-referential. It'll make a lot of jokes, and as I said, you know, the humour does carry through.
Awesome. All right, so that is 6 games. Those are 6 games that are on sale at the moment that we think are hidden gems on the Switch. Let us know your choices down below, and yeah, I think that's the end of it.
Absolutely. Yeah, as Mark said, any that you can recommend, please do so. If they're on sale, all the better, but if they're not, it doesn't really matter. Generally, everything goes on sale at some point, so just let us know of any games that you've been enjoying that maybe other people won't know about. Don't forget, there's a link down there to Play Asia if you're looking to import any games. Use the link down there, use the code STATED, and you can get yourself 5% off of an order. If you're looking to pick up any eShop credit, you can do so via our website, switchup.gg. Doing so does help the channel out, so if you do choose to pick up your credit this way, it's very much appreciated. Another quick thank you to our patrons and our channel members, of course, for your continued support, and to each and every one of you for watching our videos. Take care, and until next time, happy gaming.